Good evening, everybody. This is Alderman Lee from the 11th Ward, and we're here for a community zoning meeting. It is Monday, May 20th, and we're here with Mr. Wu, who's proposed a zoning change at 2342 South Wentworth. He is here with his architect as well as his attorney. His attorney, Mr. Fred Augustin, is going to go ahead along with the architect. I'm so sorry, I didn't catch your name. Scott Sheldis is going to help us walk through the changes that they're looking to make to the property. So just to sort of center everybody, if you're familiar with the area at all, it was most recently a Happy Lamb Hot Pot location. Mr. Wu has purchased the building and has plans to demolish the building and put up a new one. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to the gentleman over here. I'll share my screen so that you can follow along with the plans here. So is this a good place to start? Yeah. Okay. All right, you're up.
All right. So thank you again, Alderman Lee and your staff for hosting us. Again, my name is Fred Augustin. I'm a zoning attorney in Chicago. I'm here with me this evening is Michael Wu, the owner, as well as our architect, Scott Shelvis. The property at 2342 South Wentworth, as the Alderman stated, it's currently a two-story mixed-use building right now. What Mr. Wu would like to do is demolish it and build a new mixed-use building. Mr. Wu does operate a Japanese restaurant called Wu's House. People may be familiar with it. He currently has five to six locations in the area. He's hoping and he'd like to establish a new location here in Chinatown, specifically at the subject property. So his plan is to demolish the existing building and construct a new mixed-use building. 3 of the floors will be devoted to the Wu House concept. The other floor, one floor will be, I think it's still kind of open in terms of what he's thinking about, what type of cuisine, or it's still within his ownership, but he's not sure what line item it would be for that floor. But in addition to the restaurant and commercial portions, he is proposing 4 apartments. We do feel like there's a need for apartments in the area, especially in Chinatown. So we are proposing 4 apartments. They'll each be 2 bedrooms, 1 bath. They will be marketed to residents within Chinatown. So in order to do this project, property is currently zoned C13. We are seeking a zoning change to a C15, which is the zoning classification right across the street. So we're seeking a C15. We're also seeking to reduce parking. Again, it's such a short lot. We're at least required to do 4 parking spaces for the apartments. There's no room for it. However, we are in a transportation service location. Because of that, you know, we're within roughly 1,000 square feet of the Chinatown train station. So with that designation, we are able to reduce the parking via variation. So we are seeking a zoning change and a variation to reduce the parking as well as the rear setback, since residential uses have to be set back 30 feet from the rear property line. So we haven't applied for any zoning change or zoning amendment yet. We wanted to have this meeting first to discuss it with the aldermen and the community. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to Scott Shelvis, the architect. If you could, Scott, talk briefly about the front of the building and the floor plans.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where would you like me to navigate, Scott?
If you go to the elevation sheet,
Elevation
which is
sheet.
a 3.0.
It's here.
Yes,
Okay.
thank you. What we're proposing is again, is a 5-story building. The front of the building and the returns would be a limestone panel. The area above the entrance would be a granite mosaic tile within the facade. And then we're providing more of a detail along the one side and along the top. That's a wood appearance, but it's actually a aluminum product that we've used before called longboard that has a wood texture to it and feel, but it's a not combustible and aluminum material. We'd also use that for soft materials in the upstairs or the fifth floor balcony soft areas. We're proposing nano walls for the first floor windows along the Wentworth. And then on the second, third, and fourth floor, we're proposing a nano wall or nano wall type system above a fixed glass so that we can have more open feel to the street. The top floor is 4 residential units that have balconies on the north, or the east and south side of the property. The unit sizes range from 890 square feet to about 1,400 square feet. Again, being 2 bedrooms, 1 bath.
Want me to show the other elevation?
Yes,
That's the other side of the building.
yeah, we're proposing to turn the along the alleyway, want to return the glass. So to give that more of a street feel. And then, as you can see on the top floor, we're providing balconies along that alley side. Yeah, exactly, correct. If you want to look at the floor plans,
I'll go back here,
you can actually go further down.
further down. Okay. You want to show the apartments first?
Well, there's like, you can
Oh,
go
okay.
first floor. The basement, we're proposing that to be prep area, restrooms and storage.
Yeah.
And then the first floor would be a single type restaurant.
This would be the first floor here.
That's correct. We would have a, entry lobby so that they have the entrance for the residents to go, to go to their 4 stories and as well as going to the other floors for the rest. We have 2 stairs and then we have the access. We're providing the garbage inside the building in the back. That would be the southwest corner. You can see the double doors for the garbage area. The next floor.
This is the rear here.
Yeah.
This is the rear here, just.
That's correct,
Yeah,
yes.
okay. And then this is the front entrance. I just
That's
want, it's a little hard to see, so I just want to make sure
Right.
people that are on Zoom get to see this. So this would be Wentworth, this would be where people would enter. This is a lobby, this would be the elevator.
That's correct.
So this would be the entrance to the first floor restaurant and then the elevator to go up.
That is correct.
Okay, great.
And then if you go down to the next page. This would then be the start of the Woo House restaurants. Or restaurant, the 3 floors of this. So we have the hibachi tables on 1 floor. Then the next floor would have a bar and more the Chinese type dining area. And then we have the main kitchen area. And then we have the next floor above, we'd have more hibachi tables. The 4th floor would have more hibachi tables. And then on the 5th floor, we're showing there the 4
apartments.
The 4 apartments.
So I'll just zoom in a little bit so you can see what the apartments look like. So they're 2 bedroom, 1 bath
Yeah, that's correct.
apartments. What's the approximate square footage?
They go from 856 to 1,074 square feet. So we have 4 different ranges. of
4
size.
different ranges. Okay. There's a quick question in the chat. Thank you, Anna. Where will trucks park to make deliveries to the restaurant?
They would be more of a delivery in the back. They have more of an.
To the alley?
Yeah, yes.
So the building currently is 2 stories?
2 stories.
2
It's
stories.
not- no, there's 3
Three
stories.
stories,
3 stories.
yeah. It's a 3-story building and it is already built lot line to lot line, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Right, so, and there was a restaurant that was operating out of there as well. So just as a person who lives in the neighborhood, I don't recall ever seeing a delivery truck on Wentworth, which is that alley is actually a good size alley. It's not as narrow as a few of the alleys are in Chinatown. So that one,
Yeah,
I think-
16th Alley.
yep.
And then the existing does have a small little area, but that's usually just, they had 1 or 2 parking spaces for a car.
So there is a rear entrance to the exit to the alley. That's
That's
where
correct.
that's where everything would be loaded
That's
in
correct.
from. So let's go back and show that so that you could all see that. It should go down here, right? This is it here,
Yes.
right back here. So let
So
me
you
blow
see
that up,
the 4-foot door.
right here.
That's-
Yeah.
So that's the rear entrance. This is on the alley. So they're right on the alley.
Those doors, the double door is for the garbage.
So.
The next single door is for the electrical room,
Uh-huh,
and that larger door is for the delivery, so recess.
right over here by the stairways.
Yeah.
Okay, so this area back here would be where the deliveries would be taken in. This is the
Yeah.
trash enclosure. I appreciate that the trash is going to be inside. Yes, much nicer for the neighborhood and less opportunities for people to illegally dump things in your trash and for the rats to get in. So this here, just for everybody's, this is the alley right here.
You have
Because
two.
we have two alleys, yeah. 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 So actually they have, this is an alley here and then this is the alley here. Okay. I'm just trying to pay attention also to the chat. Anything else you want to share with everybody before we open up for questions?
Michael, did you want to say a few things? Okay, yes, yeah, we're just here to answer.
I can tell you that I'm familiar with Wu's house. When I realized who he was, I got a little excited because I was like, oh, I know your business. Where are your current locations at?
I have in Orland Park,
Uh-huh.
Evergreen Park, Mokina, Pettis Park, and Murrayville, Indiana.
Okay,
And now current under construction one in Levelfield.
okay.
It's going to be opened up in a couple months. My targeting day is end of July.
You're a busy man.
Yeah, plus we have a couple more coming up outside. So yeah,
So,
we are expanding.
the first time I spoke with Mr. Wu and he was talking to me about, I sometimes we have so many restaurants in Chinatown,
Yes.
but we don't actually
We don't
have
no hibachis.
no hibachi the way that you do it. And
Yes. If I know I do the all the research in this area,
Uh-huh.
the closest one in downtown, the Benihana in the basement.
yes.
Yes.
That's the closest, right?
The closest one. So it's still like if from Chinatown to there, it's gonna be about 20 minutes driving.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how many population, probably
Yeah.
very, very large amount.
Yeah. So the hibachi is where they cook on a
Cook
flat
in
top
front-
in front of
Cook
you.
in front of you with all the entertainments. Yeah. It's very popular for all the celebrating.
I appreciate that you put apartments back in. That was one of my concerns initially when we talked that, we were taking housing out of the very limited housing stock already.
Yes.
So I appreciate that you're putting apartments back in. I know that there weren't people living in the apartments, so you didn't put anybody out, but putting apartments back in and in this particular location, I think is a really positive thing. So we'll open it up to any questions that the participants on Zoom have. If you have a question, you can take yourself off mute and just give me a shout out or raise your hand.
Alderman
Hi.
Lee,
Yes,
How many apartment on the top floor? How many exactly?
four apartments on the top floor.
4 apartment. And
Four.
is the floor dedicated to the restaurant?
Is the what?
Yeah, the rest of the floor are all
Yes.
So
The
they're
rest
not-
of the floors are dedicated to restaurant
Restaurants,
spaces,
yeah.
yes. Andy, did you have a question?
Alderman Lee, I have a question. I represent the landowner immediately adjacent to this property,
Mm-hmm,
and we have some questions and some concerns.
sure,
So,
let's hear them.
putting, a 5-story building there, how is this gonna affect the structural integrity of the building, the building next door? I assume you guys have to go deeper or do a new foundation. What precautions are you taking to ensure that my client's building is intact or not be damaged?
Well, we're basically going through basically CDOT and the Department of Underground. So we are providing a deeper foundation. That's correct. We're doing a mat foundation. We're also designing shoring along the neighbor's property so that we are not disturbing their foundation. So that's being designed to basically accommodate the existing building that's to the north of the site. And also along the alley and the street, not to disturb any of that material or those pieces of property from any structural fatigue or stress.
I think part of the question too, that I don't know that you can answer it, is about the demolition as well. I'm assuming, Andy, your client also has the same concern about the demolition process as well as the existing building.
Exactly, Alderman Lee.
Yeah.
It's an older building, right? So, you know,
Yeah.
there might be asbestos or whatever the case may be, like.
Well, I can answer some of that. The
Okay.
asbestos already was found on the in the property, and that's already been removed. And that's going through the permit process for the demolition of the building. We're in for that. So that the asbestos has been removed already, and we're waiting for environmental approval now that's all been submitted, that's been cleaned up. And then, after speaking with the demolition contractors, what they're looking at doing is, and we wanted to talk to your owner next to you about maybe placing something on top of your roof to protect that while they're doing the demos, in case anything does fall off while they're doing it, but they're looking at probably coming down slowly on that side, maybe even by hand if they had to, so they're not, dropping anything on your neighbor's onto that neighbor's property. But I know we wanted to talk to the neighbor to see if it's possible for us to provide, some protection on top of the roof during that demolition. So that in case anything does fall, there's protection, it doesn't hit his roof.
So Alderman Lee, next door it's a kind of a open roof, and there are some residences up there and people living up there, and at times they put clothes to dry or whatever the case may be. So how can we ensure that bricks don't come down on their heads?
Well, that's something we would have to, we'll have to discuss that with the demolition contractor, but his big issue is gonna be trying to do slowly, and if we have to have him do it by hand, taking that
I think it's going to be taken by
hand
hand.
from
We
that
try to push everything to our side.
into inwards instead of being
yes.
pushing to the outside, so he may have to do it more, slowly for that wall that's adjacent to your property.
And I think if I'm hearing you right, Andy, is that, I understand you want to take it by hand, and that makes a lot of sense to go slow and have that come in.
Yeah.
The neighbor wants some assurances that if for some reason something does come down, that it's not going to damage their building or bring any harm to any of their residents.
Well, that's
Yeah.
what we were asking, to see
Yeah.
if we can provide some kind of protection on top of that roof of the existing
So
building.
some type of cover.
Like-
Some type of cover.
Yeah.
And we'll work on it with your client, and the communicate, but that's kind of the plan.
Andy, if you want, when we're done here, we can exchange contact
Yeah.
information.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we'll wait till everybody else is sort of logged off, and we'll grab your contact information.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Yeah, did you have anything? I mean, I totally understand. I mean, it's a two-part thing going on here, right? Because it's the demolition, which will be the first, and then the laying of the new foundation for the new structure. And obviously this is why the city has all of these processes too, especially with the underground stuff. This isn't gonna happen overnight. Mr. Wu purchased the property, and he's been working on the things that he can, that he's permitted to legally, and waiting on permits, with the rest of it. So, we definitely want to reconnect once
No.
the demolition permit.
Yes.
We know that you've applied for it. I
Yes.
don't think that it's been issued quite yet.
Not yet.
Yeah, so, I certainly, we want to make sure that, Andy's client
Yeah.
is considered in that whole process as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that's an issue.
Any other questions? So we'll just sort of throw in here too, I think I said this earlier, we are so landlocked that, any new development, we've got to go a little higher. And I think that, given this proximity and what's right across the street with the Spring Hill Marriott, that's right across the street. One of the things that I look for when we're looking at zoning changes and putting something new, on a street is just, how does it fit? And I think that there are other buildings in and around the neighborhood, that, may be in a similar situation. And, if we're gonna grow it all, growing up and, being a little bit more dense is the direction that we're likely gonna have to go into. So, if there are no other questions, and just for you, Mr. Chan, the apartments, they're 2-bedroom, 1 bath. I just want to make sure that you knew that. And there's 4 units there on the top level.
Okay, thank you.
Great.
There's no parking provided for that new restaurant, right?
No, there
Yeah.
is not.
And a lot of it is, we're landlocked as Alderman Lee said, the lot's not very deep, so we're kind of constrained. Plus, the city has this thing where if you're a transportation service location,
Which we are here.
Which we are here. Michael does anticipate a lot of his customers probably taking the train or live in the area. So there's not going to be a lot of cars.
Yeah, and just to remind everybody too, none of the restaurants in Chinatown, I had to stop and think about that except for maybe, no, not even Phoenix. None of the restaurants in Chinatown have their own parking lots. Chinatown relies on street parking and the parking lots that do exist where we have discounted rates for patrons to come. 3 hours for $2 is great for business in Chinatown. I'm sure Mr. Wu will be in contact with those folks, and we're constantly looking for other ways to encourage people to use public transportation. Between the number 24, the Cermak bus, and the 62, and the 44 for that matter. And you could take the State Street bus and walk. You can get to Chinatown from the Green Line and the Red Line. We are in a very great transportation spot, and we do get a lot of people that come into the neighborhood via public transportation. There's another question in the chat. Hold on, make sure I'm not missing this. What's the projected rent for the apartments upstairs, and are any affordable units?
I don't think we know what the rent is, but it won't be like affordable, but I think it would be affordable for the area.
So
If, yeah.
market rate for the area.
Yeah,
Yes,
market.
market
Yeah.
rate, we're
Yeah.
going to do a study.
Yeah.
We'll
Yeah.
combine that then.
So
Yeah.
because it's only 4 units, there's not necessarily an affordable requirement. Certainly, we want to make sure that, that the housing can be accessible to residents
Yes,
in
yes,
Chinatown, and
yeah.
like affordable for the
Sure, yeah.
community. Okay. Thanks for the question, Kenny. Anything else? If there aren't any more questions and no other concerns that folks want to raise, I am inclined to support this zoning change so that you can build this new structure. Mr. Wu, I appreciate your interest in investing in our community. And it's going to be nice to see a new building go up in Chinatown, and hopefully that gets other people thinking as well. We've got a lot of older buildings along Wentworth, and we've had a few of them rebuilt. So I think that this will set a nice example and start a little bit more in terms of people thinking. So with that, like I said, I will provide a support letter for the zoning change. We'll provide that to Fred. And then we'll go from there. As we get information about demolition, we will share that information in our newsletter to just make people aware when it's going to be happening, how that will impact traffic in and around the area. And certainly, Andy, just hang out with us on the call here. I'll stop recording and then we can get your contact information. This recording will be shared on our through the newsletter and as well as our YouTube channel for the ward. So if anybody of your friends or anything like that missed this, they're more than welcome to view that after we get it posted. It'll be posted sometime next week. All right. Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Stop the recording.